So today I am talking about life as I see it, which was an interesting topic. So life, I think everyone can see life differently. I certainly see life differently than others. So I'm Jeff. So some of you know me. My uncle Jerry is here. He's from Winnemucca, Nevada. He made it all the way from Winnemucca. There are a few others of you that know me, but I'll argue that really no one really knows me. In fact, no one really knows you. I mean, because the you that you're willing to share, it may not be the you who you are. There are different yous here, even if you're the same person, and I'm not talking about someone who has issues. I'm talking about people that are just being people, that you have a chance. You know, it's funny, when you go to college, if you go to college, people tell you that you can start a new identity. They could be someone you weren't in high school. That's true for the first day, maybe the second day, but unless you truly are polymorphic, it's very hard for you to be the person who you're not. Then again, maybe you have a chance to be the person who you really were. I mean, I like the word, simply become who you are. Now, some people spend their entire life not knowing who they are. Some people spend their entire life trying to figure out who they want to be, but they spend so much time trying to be somebody else, they never have a chance to be themselves. And that's hard. And one of the interesting things with the world of social is that you could be somebody who you want to be, or you could be somebody who you think your friends want to be, but at the end of the day, are you you? You know, are you connecting to the person who you are? Are you true to yourself? You know, if you tweeted yourself, would you talk back? Would you friend yourself? And what's up with poking yourself? Oh, that's something else. But you know, when you get down to it, right? I mean, we have a chance to be raw and to be real if you let yourself be. But it's really hard to be real. It's really hard to be true to yourself. So we can joke about it. You can make fun of others. But at the end of the day, you have a chance to have a channel that's you. And it doesn't matter about technology. It's all about people. It's all about how you want to be, how you want to be understood, how you want to be remembered. It's all about how you want to be who you are, or give yourself a chance to connect to be that person who you are. Because again, no one knows you. Not your parents, not your sisters, not your brothers, not your friends. Sometimes you don't know you. And so social gets to be very confusing, because if you want to be for the first time honest with yourself, and you come out in Facebook or Twitter and say something which is real, but people don't think it's you because you don't say these things, well, how do they know this? And how do you know where you fit in? And how do you know where you're to be? And it's so hard to be adaptive to environments which are otherwise hostile. It's hard just to grow up. It's hard to be an adult. I mean, you know, so the students came. So what grade, what are you guys in college, in high school? Where are you from? Seniors in college? Seniors in high school, so your average age is 17 or 18? 18, all right. So one thing probably people will never tell you is that you never have to worry about getting old, right? I mean, the thing is, when you're 18 years old or 38 years old, you're the same person. The skin on your outside might get a little harder, but your soul is your soul. And the voices that gave you direction when you were 18, hopefully are still giving you direction when you're 68 or 78. It's the same thing. It's just the context of living changes, but you are who you are. So if you get nothing else out of this conference, just remember, you're never going to get old. But sometimes you have to learn to listen to yourself, and sometimes the challenges are trying to understand who that voices are. Because, you know, if you take a multiple choice test, arguably you wrote C, and then you came back and you changed it to B, but C was right, and you knew it, damn it. But because it was your brain came in and you overthought something, or maybe it was an emotional question, you overfelt that thing, but something about your soul gave you that direction. The thing is, you spend the rest of your life trying to figure out how to get connected back to that direction, because it seems that your soul knows what to do. And one of the most interesting things I've ever discovered about having friends is they don't have a fucking clue who I am. Still today. And that's maybe sad, but it's true. But I refuse to pretend to be anybody but who I am. And I refuse to be anyone who they want me to be. I want to be who I want to be. And I'm willing to be fickle. I'm willing to be crazy. I'm willing to do what I want to do to have fun today, because if I'm not here, I can't have fun. And that, you know, they say that, my father told me this before he died, several things. One of them, for the adults in the audience, family vacations with your family is no vacation at all. It's not for the kids. You know, but another one is he always was lamenting on the fact that youth is wasted on the young. And I think that's true too, because it's only when you get older. Oh, by the way, when you get older, apparently your parents actually seem wiser than they ever were, which is also true, guys. But you'll figure that out later. But the thing is that you have a chance to live. You have a chance to actually do whatever it is you want to do. It doesn't matter what your age is. That's all relative. But you have to give yourself a chance to be honest, if with no one else in the world, with who you are. And give yourself to be centered at least enough to connect and to feel. And the world of social is kind of hard because on one level you're trying to create this identity which is me that people think they are. Then there's the me I really am today or the me I want to be tomorrow, and that creates so much confusing if you're a brand. I mean, how could you not be the same person? What's about authenticity? What about being realness? But at the end of the day, you're a human being, and we have feelings. Kids have feelings. In fact, sometimes people don't remember about us feelings, but we have feelings. And sometimes those feelings never go away. It's hard to be who you are and be connected and still be real. And social has all sorts of stuff, but for me, social media today, it's nice to have open communications with people that may know me or think they know me. But what's really nice is to see the world is connecting and communicating, because I think that as society grows, humanity is on the rise for one reason only, that we're having open lines of communication. We're able to, in this room today, find common ground with strangers. We're able to realize that once and for all, we're all here in it together, whether you like it or not. That the problems we have, we can't always solve them, but we could agree to disagree and we could agree to agree. We can agree to be assholes, we can agree to be friends, but we can do it with a smile. There's no need to do it with hatred. You know, there's no need to be, you be strongly opinionated, no one's going to tell you to go fuck yourself. I'm sorry. But you're allowed to be strong. You're allowed to be who you are because you're a person and your voice matters. And this is the hardest part. So many people grow up in a world where they have to repress their voice. And I'm not talking about communist regimes. I'm talking about it here in America, where you're not allowed to speak up your voice because you may offend somebody. Well, I won't say that. But you're allowed to have a voice because your voice really matters. And we're living in a time right now where I question our ability to have freedom. Because freedom sometimes comes from the inside. I'm not talking about rebellion. I'm talking about just giving yourself a chance to be you. Discover the brilliance, the beauty, the effervescence you. And social is very scary like that. I mean, I can tell you real quickly that as a kid on Long Island, I was alone, really alone, so much so that I found my solace in the craziness of radio. When I was a 9-year-old kid, I had no friends, no real friends. Maybe I just didn't feel the friendship, even if they were there superficially. So I discovered AM radio at night. I used to listen to the AM dial. Frankly, last night I was here in Iowa, and I was very happy to tune the AM stations and see what was coming through here from New York. It was nice. And then I went to my uncle's office, my Uncle Fred, and my dad told me to check this out. And so I had this opportunity to have this really surreal experience because I have no idea why as a kid I'm in my uncle's office. And there I am, and he takes out this, turns on this box on his desk, and he mixes some noise, and he makes some squeals, and I'll be a few minutes. And he, at the end of the day, changed my life. Because what happened was, this radio had all these voices coming out of it, and then he tuned the dial a little bit, and he found a clear spot, and he said something very hard to understand and to decipher. He said, CQ, CQ. This is K2QQM calling CQ. He said again, CQ, CQ, K2QQ, I'm calling CQ. Now, what he didn't tell me was that what he had was a ham radio. My father did. He really didn't. He assumed I knew. And CQ is actually it's English, but it comes from Morse code, the letter C, the letter Q, meaning seeking you. I mean, every day I go out on Twitter, I say good morning. That's me saying CQ. Every day I'm out there looking for a meaningful relationship, a meaningful contact, a chance to say, hey, I'm alive and you matter too. But we really don't have a way to do that. But as a kid, I started to learn. I started to understand I could say CQ. So my uncle did this, and to my utter amazement, for an entire hour, I was mesmerized while my uncle was talking to random strangers, dealing with people from all over the world. He said, my name is Fred. I'm in Farmingdale, New York, and he gave a report. And after this hour, I looked at my uncle, I looked at his desk, and I realized my uncle had the cure for loneliness. It was this box. If I could simply take this box and bring it back to my bedroom, I would always have friends. I would never be alone. And I tried, but he wouldn't let me. See, that was his. And the thing was, to be a ham operator, which it was, you had to, as a 9-year-old kid, it was not so easy because I had to take a license. I actually needed to learn Morse code of all things. Morse code, can you imagine? And I had to learn about electronic theory that was taught on a college level, and I had to learn about the rules and regulations to be a ham. So it took me till I was 12 and a half. And it was a struggle, you know, because I would always thought I'd pass this test, I'd go down, and you know, so for 9 to 12 and a half really sucked to be me because I was trying to be me. I was having a hard time connecting, really hard time. And then I ended up getting licensed when I was 12 and a half, and I never shut up since. and I encourage you that, you know, as a kid, the thing I learned about that whole experience is radio was a great platform for the future of social media. Why? Because if you're a 12-year-old kid or a 14-year-old kid on Long Island, and you're not listening, connecting, sharing, engaging with a stranger on the radio, they're not going to talk back to you because you got no standing whatsoever. But if your ability to actually let yourself be a little vulnerable, let yourself feel something for the first time maybe, and feel someone else's feelings, it opens you up to a whole world out there. And then whether or not everyone else around you is a phony or a fake, it doesn't matter because you're real. And I make this a point that you know, everyone has a need to feel liked, more than Facebook liked. Everyone has a need to feel needed, right? And sometimes you don't get it from the outside, so you have to find it on the inside, and that's really hard. And social networks do give you that chance to feel good. And you know, I believe that if you feel something, feel it, say it, experience it. Don't put something off for tomorrow. Tomorrow may not happen. You know, I ended up becoming a ham operator, becoming obsessed with this, which got me involved 20 years later on the internet. I actually had my life saved because I was a ham operator, and in 1995, some software came out to let me talk on the internet. I was like, yay, my hobby's back. Well, I got fired from my day job because of that, but I worked in the World Trade Center. I worked at One World Trade. 700 people lost their lives at that day on 9/11. I was spared because I was a ham operator. And I didn't know what to do about it. It was hard. But I discovered that it's okay to be fired because it could save your life. I discovered the person sitting next to you really can change your life if you let them. Sometimes it's your voices that matter, but you have to give yourself a chance to feel and connect. And I'll just end on a point about digital breadcrumbs. See, the thing that's going to define the life of an 18-year-old that doesn't define a life of a 48-year-old is for the next 30 years, you get a chance to actually become remembered. You see, in my generation, if you wanted to be a rock star, you had to be a fucking rock star. But if you are, the world media cares about everything you do for whatever reason. And legacy is not something which you ask for, it's something which comes with the territory. But imagine growing up right now. See, right now, unless you're a major celebrity, there's not a lot written about you, certainly that your future family and legacy will ever see. But today in a world that gives us Instagram and YouTube, a world that gives us Twitter and Facebook, a world that gives us Pinterest and everything else, you see, I take an absolute other side of the argument about Twitter, about status updates. I believe if you're alive, your voice fucking matters. Because when you're dead, it's hard to tweet. And when you're alive and you have something to say it. Because you see, what you don't know is you may be talking to your kids that you may never meet, or your grandchildren. And you have a chance today to live a life, and for someone else to actually backward engineer that life by looking at your timelines, looking at your Twitter streams, looking at your Instagrams, looking at your YouTube videos, looking at videos like someone created for you. And in the not too distant future, your life will be documented whether you like it or not. You don't have to be on a reality TV show. You just have to be alive. And can you imagine the impact you're going to have for somebody? Because you know what? If you're having a shitty day, say it. Because someone else, a future legacy of yours, maybe you're having a bad day too. And why should they feel all alone just because they're having a bad day? You know, life doesn't have to be great. Sometimes it sucks, but it's life. I choose that over the alternative. And so, to the extent that you have a chance to leave digital breadcrumbs wherever you go, leave them. Don't be overexposed. Privacy matters. I'm not saying that you should put yourself in harm's way, but remember, you're alive. Live your life. Follow your dreams, and inspire others because you can. I'm at Jeff Pulver. Thank you for listening, and please stand up and give a friend a hug, please.